What's up, everybody? I'm Greg Goldner, and welcome to the Green Room alongside my eco-fashionista twin expert. Who are you?
We called each other.
Who are you?
Colette Brooks.
Hello.
But I look like Greg Goldner.
We have a great show for you today. We're going to talk about my favorite company in the whole world, the people with the check mark, the swoosh, Nike.
Nice. And we're going to go into the Green Room with the Heal the Bay CEO, Ruskin Hartley. They are the water keepers of the world in my book.
Water keepers of the world. Twins. Let's get right into the biggest headlines that you need to know about in the eco world. Tesla, I mean, they're just killing it right now in the car game. Last month, Elon Musk, their president, CEO, their faithful leader, said there is a self-driving car in development. Autopilot technology in development, looking about 3 years. What do you think?
So not surprising.
Really?
I mean, this man's taking us into outer space as well. So a self-driving car that I guess is for safety reasons, so that if you fall asleep at the wheel, it takes over. I'm not surprised. In 3 years, I think it's completely doable.
And they released a statement saying that 90% of the tasks, the driving tasks, 90% of them can be done with this autopilot technology, which in turn, when you think about it, it's going to take a lot of human error out of just your day-to-day driving.
It is indeed, but I think there's going to also be an education process, because those of us who have been driving for a really long time.
Sure. Did you just age yourself?
I did. Yeah, a really long time. Longer than I haven't been driving. How about that?
Hold on, let me carry the one.
Oh, you don't even have to do that. So we're on autopilot when we drive oftentimes, so I wonder how that'll work.
Sure.
Because if the car, I mean, is it going to be a battle of wits, a battle of, am I going to fight the wheel? Because I don't know, it'll be so interesting.
All right, well, let's stay in the car world. Yeah. PlugShare, which is something you're probably pretty familiar with. PlugShare is a website and an app that shows locations of a public EV charging stations.
I use it all the time.
Okay, so talk a little bit about PlugShare.
So there's PlugShare, there's ChargePoint, there's Blink, there's Recargo. I really like Recargo also. Okay. And basically, if you're an electric vehicle owner or driver, it tells you where the nearest, using GPS, it tells you where the nearest charging station is.
Right.
And it also will tell you if it's available or if it's being used, the last time it was used, if it is functioning or if it is down, out of order. So it's really useful.
So it's really going to help out the admin side of the EV charging process, from what I understand, because I've read there's been a lot of complaints about the infrastructure.
Yes.
Some stations you pay, some stations you don't. You pull in, hoping there's a station open, then there's not, and when you need a station. So it sounds like this PlugShare, they've kind of redone things, and they're going to be able to show you charging status. You're going to be able to pay using a pay service for everything.
Well, now I pay with
Yeah,
I mean, I pay with ChargePoint, I pay with Blink. Sometimes you don't pay. I didn't pay this morning at a doctor's appointment. I mean, it was a surprise that a charging station was there. So I think the more of these applications that come online, the better it is for all of us.
And I know you have a little bit of beef maybe in this area.
A little bit of beef.
What do you got?
Well, no, I've never run out. But but again, if something's out of order and it's not reported out of order, and you kind of go out of your way to get there, and you're stuck because it's not functioning, it's a problem.
All right. Europeans buying more bikes than cars.
No way.
What do you think about that? 25 to 27 European Union countries, bikes rapidly outsold cars.
That is awesome.
In Greece alone last year, 320,000 bikes versus 58,000 cars. That's an astounding stat. That's like one for every 6.
That's amazing.
What does it tell you?
It tells me that, of course, I mean, I think that the Europeans are more bike-centric or more bike-conscious than we are. I think it's growing here in the States. We don't really have the infrastructure. Our roads don't have the infrastructure that Santa Monica does.
Sure.
And it's growing in Los Angeles. But, you know, we don't really have the bike lanes. And also, I think we have the mentality that the roads belong to cars versus share the road.
And in which, here's a stat for you, in America only 5% of bike riders use their bicycle for commuting purposes. It's a pretty dark cloud over us there.
I don't.
We really need to step our game up.
Yeah.
You know who is stepping their game up is our guest. Ruskin Hartley, the CEO of Heal the Bay. We got him coming inside the green room next.
That's a big game.
Hey! I don't know you.
Some problems are just too big to ignore. But don't take matters in your own hands. With the help of a mediator, you can find a solution. Mediators are volunteer professionals who can help you resolve issues without the high cost of legal fees.
Wonder if he's single.
Hey, I saw him first.
Oh boy, here we go.
Call us or reach out on the web if you'd like to volunteer or donate.
And now we get to welcome inside the green room Heal the Bay CEO Ruskin Hartley. Thank you so much for taking time out of your busy day. I know you're fairly new into this role, about 6 weeks in.
6 weeks in.
I mean, the man is as eco as it comes.
Absolutely. And, you know, Heal the Bay is 28 years old, and you've just stepped into this position. So maybe you could start out by talking about, you know, Heal the Bay has a legacy of keeping the water clean, but you do more than that.
Yeah, I mean, Heal the Bay, as you said, been around 28 years. It's really been the citizens' watchdog about pollution in the Bay. Got started 28 years ago by Dorothy Green and a number of other civic-minded individuals who came together, and they were sick and tired of the pollution. People were out in the Bay, they were swimming, they were getting sick, the fish were dying, the dolphins had lesions on them, and the immediate cause back there was untreated wastewater being dumped out into the Bay from Hyperion, and they really mobilized to clean that up. Had some really remarkable early successes.
You were in NorCal, now you've made the move to SoCal. What made you defect to the South?
Oh, well, maybe 18 years ago I spent 10 months down here actually working here. But yeah, you're right. Northern California is a remarkable, wonderful place to be. But as I thought about and I was working for a conservation group up there. So I think about some of the pressing conservation issues in California. In fact, in the West and the world, it's all about urban conservation. It's about water conservation. It's about marine conservation, and Heal the Bay is at the center of all those. So this is just a remarkable opportunity for me personally. And to come and work for an organization that has such a great track record. Kind of dream come true.
And speaking of track record, I mean, I try to stay pretty, up on social media. You guys, you and I were tweeting earlier, but you guys have an unbelievable social media presence.
That's one of the things that really impressed me about this organization. I mean, it's interesting. It's a regional organization. The people who support this organization see the benefits of this work day in, day out, and they're directly involved. They're part of the conversation. They're part of what's driving us forward.
They're engaged.
They're very engaged.
Yeah.
They care about this stuff. This is their bay. This is my bay now. This is our backyard.
Absolutely.
And protecting the bay means that we need to start thinking about working across this whole watershed. It's not just about the beaches. This is about working throughout the cities here.
Well, exactly right. And where the water comes from and ultimately ends up in the bay, that trajectory, there are missteps along the way, and I think to look at it holistically and find a solution so that the end result is a clean bay is part of your work, I assume.
Yeah, and as I've been thinking about it, that the health of the bay really is a barometer for the health of this region. Los Angeles is really remarkable. It was 100 years ago that Mulholland opened the chutes and the water came flowing down from the Owens Valley, and this history of Los Angeles has been a history of water. It's bringing water from the Owens Valley, from the Sacramento Bay Delta, from the Colorado River to fuel the growth of this region. But I think what people forget is there is water here. There are rivers here. We have diked them, we have dammed them, and the engineers have done basically everything they can do to make sure that every raindrop that drops in the area gets flushed down to the bay as quickly as possible. But it's time to start to rethink that. Water is a precious resource. We need to start to think about ways that we can reuse that. So it goes from being a pollutant, picking up residue from the streets and the roads, to being something that we can use to water our lawns, to deal with our local water supplies. And that's really the challenge ahead.
Well, and I know people can not just think about it, but they can volunteer, can't they?
We have a great, you talk about social media, people are engaged tweeting and following us on Facebook, but people get out there. They're out every month. They're out cleaning the beaches up, cleaning the beaches up from the plastic debris and the cigarette butts that get flushed down. Every year we run the Coastal Cleanup Program here in Los Angeles County. We had 12,000 people out one day, one Saturday, cleaning up the beaches. There are many ways that people can get involved.
They just go to the website?
Go to our website, healthebay.org. You can find ways you can volunteer to come to coastal cleanup. You can go out and help us monitor water quality in Malibu Creek watershed. You can be trained, go out into your communities, into your school districts, and tell people how they can help protect the bay in their communities every day.
Colette's monitoring the water in Malibu for you on a daily when she's out there surfing.
Yeah, not as often as I'd like, but again, Surf Rider, which is my surf break, has always been notoriously dirty, and we just did a lagoon project, and as we were talking earlier, it's going to take a while to heal the lagoon, as you said, from surgery, because it was surgically corrected.
No, restoration can be challenging. I mean, I think if you think of things from a geological perspective, everything that we do is kind of short-term solutions. But sometimes you come up with lagoons that have been heavily impacted, heavily hammered, and that was the case at Malibu Lagoon and the work that went in over the last few years. No, it doesn't look so pretty today. We need to give it some time to recover. Right. The jury's kind of out there. We stand fully behind that project. I know it's been controversial down here in the communities, but those coastal resources, those coastal lagoons, they're so precious that we need to do everything we can do to restore them and bring the health back to these watersheds.
I just read an article, I think it was last week, about how the Army Corps of Engineers, the word is it isn't destroyed, but messed with, harmed, yes, a couple sensitive ecosystems. I think one was in the Sepulveda Basin and one was somewhere else, and they have been called to repair that and correct the damage.
This is a really interesting issue where the Army Corps is charged with protecting people from flood, and if you've seen the videos of what was happening in LA in the 30s, you can kind of understand why they're doing that. But at the same time, the flood channels that they've built become habitat for common species, sometimes for threatened endangered species, and this is an instance where they had gone in and they had prioritized flood control over habitat protection, and rightly being called to order. They're required to obey things like the Clean Water Act, and they'd overstepped the mark there, and the courts will get to decide this one. I believe they have 60 days to put in place a restoration plan, and we'd certainly urge them to do that. Look carefully and thoughtfully about how they can do that and how they can avoid that type of damage in the future.
These segments always fly by, so one last final thought from you. You've been in the role 6 weeks. You are the CEO of Heal the Bay. You've got a lot of power now. You've got the Heal the Bay logo. Everyone knows the fish logo. Under your reins, what most excites you?
The opportunity to work at this intersection of urban conservation, water conservation, and marine conservation. And this is a local issue down here in Los Angeles, but if we fix our watershed, we fix our water supply, we actually heal that bay, can be a model that people can sit up and take notice from around the world.
Perfect.
That's what excites me.
Ruskin, thanks so much for taking
That's
the
a
time.
pleasure.
Guys,
thank you so much.
Coming up next, we're going green.
Even if a signal indicates it's safe to walk, it's never safe unless drivers see you. Last year, 113 pedestrians were injured in Santa Monica. You don't have to go to extremes to get a driver's attention. It just takes a little eye contact. Take the right steps to be safe. Watch the road.
And it's almost the holiday time. The holidays are right around the corner. You got Christmas, you got Hanukkah, and you think about Christmas trees, right?
And menorahs.
And menorahs.
Eco-menorahs.
Eco-menorahs. Well, let's talk about eco-trees for a second.
Okay.
Everyone knows about artificial Christmas trees. Those are actually horrible for the environment. Artificial trees, horrible. Most contain lead, made of PVC that releases toxins during manufacturing. That ain't good.
Yeah.
So, cue new SoCal business, livingchristmastree.com, where you can rent a Christmas tree.
Rent a Christmas tree.
Rent a Christmas tree.
And then what happens when you're done with it?
So you rent a Christmas tree, they drop it off, they pick it up. It's that easy. And it's a tree that goes back in and it comes planted in a pot and it's good to go.
Wait, does it get used again?
It can get used again and it'll continue to grow and then you buy the different tree every year. Or I wonder if you could
You
ask
could
for
adopt
the,
it.
You could adopt it.
You could
ask for the
adopt a
same
Christmas tree.
They also offer eco-friendly and fair trade decorations and ornaments.
Nice, because
Awesome, right?
most of them are just made of plastic, and that's fantastic.
livingchristmastree.com. All right, moving on. Let's stay with trees, huh? Houseplants for better health. Do you have a houseplant?
I do have a house plant.
I do too.
Yeah, but she has 4 legs. She's
All right.
old.
So several plants, more so than other types of plants, filter out a high concentration of VOC. You know what that is? What is it?
It's gas.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Volatile organic compounds.
Yeah.
So they suggest getting aloe vera plants, spider plants, Gerber daisies, weeping fig. This one I can never say the name of. Chrysanthemum.
Chrysanthemum.
I got it right.
Yeah, really
Hey, Mom,
good.
look at me.
Now I'm going to ask you to spell it.
Yeah, right. It's only because I have it written can I spell it. English ivy, Chinese evergreen, bamboo even. These are all plants that they suggest keeping in your house because they can filter out formaldehydes, benzenes, all kinds of harmful chemicals, toxins that float around your air.
Which shouldn't be in your house to begin with if you built eco-minded, but let's just say you didn't. So things off gas, absolutely. And I mean, paint has VOCs in it.
Sure.
And now there's low VOC paint and zero VOC paint, but it is pervasive everywhere in the traditional home. My question is, so I have all these plants, aloe veras and bamboo and all kinds of things growing right outside. I wonder if that helps filter.
You've got to be getting some kind of reciprocal effect
Probably.
as the wind blows in off the plants in the house.
Probably.
All right, let's get into my favorite company of all time.
The Swoosh Master
The
Company?
Swoosh Master, the Czech, the people at Nike. God, I love Nike. So anyway, check this out. You know, we love to acknowledge people being green. So this is our caught green-handed. Nike is just doing awesome stuff in general, okay? So Nike has produced this video and this whole campaign that they've been running with for a long time, and it's about reusing your running shoes. And
I love that whole concept.
It's brilliant. They take the shoes, they chop up the sole, they turn it into track. At high schools, local places, they reuse all parts of the shoe.
Zero waste.
Pretty much zero waste. Before we show you the video, though, it's all about recycling your running shoes. The running shoes are something that everybody has. Okay, so go to recycledrunners.com. It'll direct you to a place locally to drop off your running shoes to be recycled. Even if they're not Nikes, you can still recycle your running shoes. They recycle everything, all 3 parts: rubber, fabric, foam, and turns into playground surfaces, basketball courts, tennis courts, tracks.
Wow.
All right, well, check out this video from Nike, and I promise you, not only will you buy Nikes, I'm not an ambassador, but I should be, but you'll want to recycle them.
Your shoe has a sole. No, not the one under your foot. The one inside. A sole that lives on. A sole you created. With every game, every move, every run. Producing something unique and individual. But every shoe also has a lifespan. And when it's over, what do? Do you simply lose it? No, you reuse it. Nike's Reuse a Shoe program unwinds, unbinds, and regrinds old athletic shoes. To be reborn is Nike Grind. A soft, resilient material we've turned into countless courts, fields, and tracks, thanks to nearly 30 million shoes collected from people just like you. You gave your shoes a soul. Now give them a second life.
So we just gave Nike all kinds of love, and we get into our segment now, You Don't Know Green, which is where we typically call people out and say, hey, you're not being green, you don't know about being green. In this case, we're flipping it on its head, and we're keeping on with Nike, and we're giving them so much love because you don't know how green they are. What do you got?
They're so green, and I'm not ranting this time. I mean, I normally rant, right?
True.
This is props for Nike. So they built this prototype retail store called the Nike X158 Hyper Nature, and it is in China, and it's made completely out of trash.
What do you mean trash?
Completely out of trash.
Like they went in my dumpster and built a store?
They could have. No virgin materials whatsoever. Let me give you an example of the materials that they use.
What do you got?
More than 50,000 used CDs and DVDs. That's e-waste. More than 5,000 drink cans, beverage cans. 2,000 post-consumer recycled water bottles, which were used to make nearly 7,000 feet of tension cables. I mean, talk about upping the game.
That's ridiculous.
Yeah, amazing. And it's beautiful. It's beautiful. We'll show some video. It's absolutely gorgeous.
You know what else you had on here? The ceiling. I thought this was great. The ceiling is, as you said, made of recycled compact discs and DVD, but it's all natural organic material that was used to put it all together. There's no glue. So it can all be reused.
That's right. Right. If there were glue, it couldn't be recycled. So this can actually break down and be recycled.
I mean, you have a company like Nike who has all the money in the world, it can do whatever they want to do, but they're really taking a stand on eco and green.
They are, and this is really good PR too, so they're no fools.
Hurt. You know something about PR, don't you?
A little bit, yeah.
All right, well, you know what? That's our show. That's all I got.
Well, we could recycle this.
We can recycle the show.
And it will. It'll air a couple times.
You know what I mean? All right, what's your favorite part?
I kind of, as much as I really love Ruskin, I love this X158 hyper nature thing that Nike did. It's amazing.
I can't believe you didn't say Ruskin was your favorite. I'm going to go with Ruskin.
You go
Ruskin was my favorite.
I was lobbing to you.
Going to welcome the new CEO of Heal the Bay in, huh?
Absolutely.
All right, guys, that's it. I'm Greg Goldner.
Colette Brooks. We're out.